One of the biggest obstacles we might face in our creative work is perfectionism. Perfectionism can cause us to invest hours into tweaking and improving small details of our work just to get an only 1% better version of it in return. And this is problematic because we end up working on projects for way too long instead of finishing them and moving on to the next one. As a result, we create less, we share less, we learn and improve less. So how can we deal with this need to perfectionize things? I have definitely had phases in the past where I struggled with perfectionism. But I think I got to a point where I have learned to approach my creative work in a better way. And I do that mostly by applying 3 mental models or principles that I use when I create things and which I would like to share here with you. As always, you can find timestamps in the description box below. The first mental model I use is that perfect does not exist. To fully understand that, I think it helps to think about something that you have created in the past. Maybe a school project or an essay you wrote or a presentation for your work. Something that you have created and found to be perfect when you finished it back then. And if you can, look at the same thing today and see if you would still think that this is perfect. It is quite likely that you don't think that anymore. Even if it was something that you have finished maybe just a few months or even weeks ago. You might now see things that could be improved. This is because what we consider to be perfect is always a matter of what we know and what we are able to do at a given time. Because as we grow and as we are constantly learning, we become more knowledgeable, more skilled, and we start to see our past work differently. So that means that perfect does not exist, or it is fleeting at best. What we think is perfect now might not seem perfect anymore to us in a year or even in a week from now. Or as Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, said, if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you ship too late. Also, if what we do is meant to be for other people, we need to keep in mind that perfection is also very subjective. And if we can even change our own perspective on our work over time, think about all the other people who have different perceptions on it. What might look like a great piece of art to one person might look like garbage to someone else. Everybody sees things differently, based on what they know, what they can, and what they have experienced. There's no book that is liked by everyone. There's no movie that is hated by everyone. I mean, I have actually met people who seriously like the Star Wars prequels. If we try to perfectionize things now, we are just wasting our time. Because these things won't stay perfect anyway. Not for us, not for anyone. So if we can't make things perfect, what could be a better way to approach our creative work? Instead of striving for perfection, we can strive for good enough. Up to a moment where we can think, okay, if I would put even more hours into that, I could probably improve it. But at the state it is right now, I'm actually very satisfied with this already. When you get to a point where something could be much more worse, but only a little bit better, then it's probably good enough to be considered as finished. And having just good enough as a goal has a couple of benefits. It takes pressure off us. We will see our work not anymore as an overwhelming task, but something doable. We can approach our work way more relaxed when we know it doesn't need to be perfect. This causes us not only to make it more likely to start and to keep working on it, but also to finish it. And a finished project that is good enough is worth more than an unfinished project that tries to be perfect. Also, we will actually finish our project faster and can move on to the next one. And by finishing projects faster, we can do more projects. And the more projects we do, the better we get at them and the faster we improve. This is something especially important when we are learning or trying something new. We make faster progress in the beginning by putting consistency over quality. In the book Art and Fear by David Bales and Todd Orland, we can find a nice little story that addresses this. There was a pottery class, and the teacher divided the class into 2 groups. The teacher said to one group that they will be graded only by the quantity of their work, so by the number of pots they would produce. The other group was told they will be graded by the quality of their work, so they would need to produce only 1 pot, which would have to be perfect. And what happened at the end of the class was that the members of the first group, who were graded by quantity, actually all produced better pots than the other group, where each member had to produce one perfect pot. And this happened because the people in the quantity group were producing pot after pot and learning from their mistakes. So they got better with each pot they made. The people in the quality group were focusing on perfection and creating one perfect pot. So because they never finished any other pot, they never made any mistakes from which they could learn from and improve. This story shows how perfectionism can actually hinder us from becoming better. But focusing on consistency instead gives us practice that we need to improve. We do, we learn, we do better. Apparently, the Beatles performed 1,200 times for many hours before they actually had a breakthrough. They didn't start as the great band we all know, but they kept going, and they showed consistency. So whatever we want to create and share, we should start creating and sharing. Whatever service or products we could already offer, we should offer them now and improve with the feedback we get. Instead of trying to have it all figured out at the beginning, we can improve faster by starting and make some mistakes on the way. And again, we're not trying to perfectionize our work here in the long run. No, our standards for good enough just get higher, thanks to more information and experience we collect during the process. So, to summarize this video shortly. To tackle perfectionism, we need to realize that perfect does not exist. And as long as we are learning and changing, our perception on what is perfect will change as well. Also, we can practice getting more comfortable with imperfection, with good enough. It can take pressure off us and let us approach our work with more ease. And then, instead of focusing too much on the quality of what we produce, especially in the beginning when we're doing something new, we should rather try to be consistent with it. Just showing up, doing the thing. Over time, consistency leads to quality. To keep getting reminded of these principles, you can, for example, write them on little notes and put them at your workspace so you always see them while you're working on something, and to make sure you're not getting lost in perfectionizing the details of your work. So thank you for watching. And if you're not only fighting with perfectionism but also with motivation, then this video that will appear somewhere here might be interesting for you. There I talk about what helps me to be productive and keep going even if I don't have any motivation. Alright, so see you next time. Bye.